Before this video gets started, I just want to let you know that video game videos are going to be a little bit until I get the proper equipment for it. Also, my schedule is every Saturday. I post every Saturday, so if you're interested in this channel, please check it out on Saturday. I'll be posting every Saturday. Now on to the actual video. Last May, we got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which made 10 films in the Planet of the Apes universe. That went all the way back to 1968 and coming back in 2024. And I just recently got into these films just a few months ago, and I thought, why not do a ranking video of all 10? So, with that in mind, I just want to let you know before we get started that this is strictly my opinions. If you guys disagree with these opinions, that is okay. If I put a film that's low and you guys actually like that film, put it in the comments and let me know what you guys ranked these films. I would love to see it. My choice is not the right one, it's just my list. Also, Also, how I came to this universe is just, I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts one day, and I just saw a scene from Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and just thought this would be interesting. So, I just turned off my stuff, went on Disney Plus, on the collection, and just watched them all, and I really enjoyed them. Alright, now on to the ranking. In last place, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, which was the second installment of the original series, and I cannot express how much I did not like this film. The makeup was worse than the first film made. You could clearly see that a lot of people were just in ape masks, but that's also because the budget was low. They didn't have an actual story to going into this film. They wanted to put Charlton Heston back as the main character from Taylor from the last film, but he didn't want to be in it, so they had to make a creative way to make him sort of like disappear, and then he reappears in the very last 20 minutes of the film. He just did not want to be in it, and it just did not work with the story, as well as just the way they did the main character coming back. They just made an actor come back that looks suspiciously like Charlton Heston, just a little bit younger, and just, what the heck, just, that doesn't work. And then they just rehash what happened in the first film. He goes to the future, he meets Zero and Cornelius, he gets caught by the apes, and he just goes through the same thing as Taylor does in the first film, and it just does not work at all. The main plot point of it, it's basically about mutants that worship a nuclear bomb, and they were one of the worst parts of this film, and it's strictly because the way they make the humans and the apes turn against each other and make them hate, they close their eyes really tight, and they make a ringing noise that hurts my ears, and I hated it. I almost had to shut off the movie because I just hated it so much. And the way they ended it with the world getting destroyed, because then they make 5 films later following that same timeline. Sure, they do some time travel things that basically fix it, but it does not work at all. And they didn't, like I said before, they didn't have a story plot for this film, so they just did not go well. And I just dislike this film so much. I will probably never watch it. If I do happen to actually rewatch this film, I will be shocked at myself, because this is not a good film. In 9th place, Tim Burton's reboot, which starred Mark Wahlberg as the main character. And when I say I don't like this film, I don't hate all of it. The makeup, phenomenal. I could watch that makeup all day. It was amazing, especially for its time being in 2001. But the way Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the story was all just everywhere. It basically repeated the same thing as 1968, the original film did, but they just added a few scenes. They didn't have the main character lose his voice as Taylor did in the original film, and I do like some of it. Like I said, that's why it's in second to last. There are some things that I do like in it. The villain, he was menacing and creepy, and that's what a good film's villain should be like. Once again, the makeup was phenomenal. Like I said before, I could watch that all day. But the main premise of it, it just didn't work. Like, we moved too fast with the plots. Like, it goes from, he meets the apes, he escapes, then final battle, and then, like, we don't have enough time to process what happens in it. As well as the twist ending, with Apes basically taking over everything. They're everything. They're police officers, the reporters, doctors, like they're everything. The humans are basically extinct. And if you're gonna do a twist ending, make it make sense. Like, how did apes take over the world? I know it's called the Planet of the Apes, but that's in another world. That's in the future. The main character went back to the time that he came from, and the apes have taken over the world. Like, make a twist ending that makes sense, please, director. And I usually like Tim Burton's work. Like, I like The Nightmare Before Christmas. I like the Batman film that he made, and I also like Coraline. And so usually his work is interesting and I enjoy it. But this film, he did such a bad job. Not a terrible job, like I said. That's why it's in ninth place, not last place. But it's still a really bad film. In eighth place, Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which is the last film in the original series, and I just like parts of this film, like the whole thing with Caesar going back to the world and trying to figure out where his parents, no, sorry, trying to figure out trying to find tapes of his parents. I like that. I also like how in the final battle scene he basically shouts, "It like apes." That was funny. And I also like how the main villain Aldo got discovered of killing Caesar's son. That was funny to see, but it was also just bland because the film's titled "Battle for the Planet of the Apes." They don't fight for the planet. They fight for a few tree houses and a school bus. By the way, the final battle, they basically had low budget again. Basically everything after the first original film, every film had low budgets. That's just how the creators worked it out. So, like, you could clearly see they reused shots and tried to make it different scenes. They also had some extras, so it made the battle look bigger than it actually did, but it was clearly not on set. And it's basically 2 episodes of a show strung together very poorly. And once again, like Tim Burton's film, you don't have much time to like think about big stuff that actually happened. It goes so fast, and you barely have enough time to recognize what has actually happened in this film before moving on to other stuff. Sorry. It's just bad, and it's a huge flop to end the original series whatsoever. In 7th place, Conquest for the Planet of the Apes, the 4th film in the original series, and just it was entertaining enough, but not that much. It basically was the stepping stone to what Rise of the Planet of the Apes would eventually be. And I like the premise that the film was trying to go on, but they try it so hard and they try to make the film good, but they don't. They make it bad, and once again, like the other 2 films that I've mentioned, they go too fast. I can't explain how much that happened. It's very stressful to watch sometimes because it's just It doesn't work, is what I'm trying to say. It's just, it doesn't work. The final battle, it's entertaining enough to watch, but it's not a good movie that I will revisit. Like Beneath the Planet of the Apes, if I happen to rewatch this, I'll be surprised at myself. I'll be shocked. Okay. But in sorry, not seventh, that was the seventh. In sixth place is Escape for the Planet of the Apes, the third film in the original series, and this film was kind of two sides. The first half was a light 90s comedy, then you get to the back half where it's pure, grim, and dark. It goes from Beneath the Planet of the Apes, and the two main apes, Zira and Cornelius, go to the modern times in the 90s and have to basically experience what Taylor went through in the original series with finding out new cultures and having to deal with their world. And then later down the road, the humans find out that, oh yeah, these guys kind of come from a future where we don't exist, and if we do exist, we're slaves to them. We are not okay in this world. So we have a villain that is a complete jerk, and I hate him. I'm glad he died at the end of this film, but he he goes and tries to kill Zio and Cornelius' baby because they think, oh, if this baby survives, that he's going to start the generation of the planet where we are slaves to the apes. So it goes from comedy to pure dark, and it does not work at all. No, it it works, but and I like the film, but it doesn't work when we switch from 90s comedy to darkness. Like, if you're gonna make a film, like, there are films that have comedy and darkness in it, like, that's fine, but the way you split half and half. You have comedy and darkness. Like, it does not work for me, but it is still a pretty good film, hence why it's in sixth place. Yeah, sixth place. In number five, the original film, the 1968 Planet of the Apes. And this film was a good start to the long universe that came with it. It just, it's a good film, and I like how the apes are smart, and I just like how this film worked with it. The twist ending is great. I can see how much people like that twist ending with the Statue of Liberty being in the Planet of the Apes world, and just, it's great, but over time you can see how it's outdated and more just not really great to see, like, over and over again. Like, once you see it a few times, it's just, like, it's not really that surprising anymore, but it's still a really good film, and it's good enough to start this whole thing. In fourth place, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which was the newest one in the series, and it seems like it's going to be a great start for a new trilogy starring these new apes. The only things I don't like in this film is that I wish they continued with Cornelius, Caesar's son from the Andy Serkis trilogy. I wish they continued his story, but then again, that's set 300 years after War for the Planet of the Apes, so really they can't do that. Two, I wish the main villain was more pronounced. You see the main villain 30 minutes before the film ends, but his main gorilla general is seen more than him. So it feels like he should be the main villain, you know? And so those are the only two things I don't like about this film. Other than that, it seems like it's going to be a great start to a new trilogy, and I'm excited to see it. In third place, Rise for the Planet of the Apes. And like I said, this was basically what Conquest of the Planet of the Apes made to now be put in front of our eyes like that. And I love Andy Serkis. I didn't really know him much until I watched these three films of him, but he does such a great job portraying Caesar. I get chills every time he yells "No" really loud to Tom Felton, and I just love the way you basically have this ape that's really smart and has to rise to save his people from humans and to start the Planet of the Apes. And this was such a great film. I don't really have anything negative to say on it. Like I said, this film, these three films are great. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the way I feel about them is different, to say the least. In second place, War for the Planet of the Apes, the last installment of the Andy Serkis trilogy, and they could not have ended that trilogy more perfectly than they did with War. They did it so well and put together that you are so crushed and hurt when Caesar dies and he's basically gone forever. And he just is not, and he's just a beloved character enough to see, and we were all really sad when he passed away, but it's enough to you excited, because 7 years later with Kingdom, you're still open with his funeral, and that's what a great storyline does. When a character dies, you still have to have a funeral for him, even though the next movie is 7 years later after that. And that's what makes this film so great. And in first place, Dawn for the Planet of the Apes. This film is spectacular, phenomenal, great. I just love this film. The dynamic between Caesar and Koba is phenomenal. I love it. The animation, the CGI, I could watch that all day. It's just mind-blowing how well that film was put together. And honestly, I might go rewatch it after I film this video, because it's just such a good film. The characters, the character development, spectacular. Caesar's reign, spectacular. Koba's betrayal, spectacular. Everything in this film is great, and I just love it. But let me know what your ranking of the 10 Planet of the Apes films are. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is not the right choice, it's just the way I put it, and I would love to see yours. Put your ranking down in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.